Hey guys, welcome back. It's a cold day in North Carolina, at least for us. It's going to be like low 40s most of the day, so I'm going to tackle some miscellaneous stuff I need to get done on the Z50 to just get it finished. I did order a new sprocket, and it's actually custom made from Sprocket Specialist, I think is what it is. It's a 32 tooth. This here is a 41. Right now I have a 39, but so it is going to be smaller, but that's really the smallest I'm going to be able to go with this wheel, unless I machine the hub somehow to get a smaller diameter, because anything smaller than this, the chain's going to hit the hub, so it's going to be an issue. I got some bar here that I need to extend my my kickstand about 4 inches. And here's the bracket that goes on the fork tube. Probably goes something along there. And then there's the pickup sensor for the speedometer. It's going to be attached to that. And then I need to probably just cut this magnet. It's like a magnet at the end of the bolt, but I'll probably just glue the head of it onto the face of the rim here. And that'll give us our speedometer. Then the other thing I got to get done is right now the KX65 Master has no provision for a switch. So this is one off a CBR900, and we'll see if we can get that to work. And that will give us a brake light for the front lever. And the last but not least is we're going to also check the valve clearances to make sure that the tappets are in place. I don't have many miles on this thing, probably have 50 miles, but you know, it's all highway miles. Well, I call them highway, but road miles where you're wide open. So I've never checked it since new, so while I'm in here I'll probably just see where they're at. But all relatively simple stuff here, and I'll just pick away at it, and you know, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Thanks. So I've had a lot of luck with these. I was a little concerned because the solder inside melts at a pretty low temperature, but I've been using them for a few years now, and no issues. If I remember, I'll try to put this kit here that I bought that has a few sizes in the description if you guys want to try it out, but just makes the connections a lot easier. And like I said, I haven't really had any issues with, you know, electrical gremlins where they're, you know, the solder would you know, come apart or whatever. So pretty happy with it. And that's what they look like when you're done. So yeah, like I said, I haven't really had any issues with it. Yeah, I got these connectors too. These are, watertight connectors. In this situation, I would have ran the wires right to the master cylinder, since they just have some connections that these guys would work. But that's all right for now. I'll just leave this so I actually have a connection behind the headlight in case this doesn't work. The one concern I have is, the master cylinder for this CBR is meant to go on two brake calipers. So it's designed to push a little bit more pressure than obviously the KX65, which just uses one small caliper. So we'll see how that feels. I'd rather have more braking than not enough. So, but the KX65 was pretty good. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm probably gonna get a shorty lever for it. But yeah, so we'll get this hooked up, and I probably won't test it today. I do know that the circuit worked before when I had the Z50 wheels with I made a switch on it. So I know the circuit's good, and I just tested the switch in the CBR master cylinder, and it functions as it should when you pull the lever in. So I'll probably test it once I'm outside riding it, because it's just no need to go outside when it's this cold. But yeah, we'll finish this up, and we'll keep going. All right, well, we got it set up. I knew this lever was already bent when I bought it, which is fine. The lever needs to be a shorter lever anyway, so kind of go with the bike. But yeah, so everything works. I got my wires tied into the switch. And one of the things that's on my list to do is kind of make I don't know if you want to call it like a cafe racer type cover shield that kind of goes over the light and just goes over the top of the bar there, just to kind of hide all this stuff because it looks awful. But I'll show you if I can here. Obviously got the wheel, so everything seems to be working pretty good. So once we get it out on the road, we'll see how it feels. I suspect that it's gonna be, probably, if anything, too much braking power. But I need a switch, so we're just gonna go with it for now. If I see that it's not rideable, then we'll see what other options we have. If I could maybe source one off something smaller that has just one rotor, that doesn't have a big reservoir too. So I actually have a CBR900, so this was easy for me to use. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out, and yeah, we'll move on to the next thing. I'm gonna try bleeding the rear brake. I feel like I should have better brake pressure there, but that's pretty minimal. But yeah, we'll cross this one off the list and move on to the next one. So this is the magnet that they give you in the Vapor Trail Tech kit, and it's just a bolt with a earth magnet, so that gets mounted to the wheel or typically the front disc, but in my case it's going to be easier to mount it to the wheel, so I'm just going to cut the threaded part off and use like a super glue to glue it to the rim, and that should work with the sensor. That's what I've done with other projects I've had. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off with the grinder, and that should put us in pretty good shape to go ahead and mount it. And there it is, and like I said, I'll go ahead and glue it, but that's gonna be a little hot for a second, so I'm going to put this stuff away. All right, so I got that magnet that they provided, and what's going to happen is that it will just be glued to the surface right here, and when it passes the sensor here, it'll know that that's one revolution of the wheel, and it'll send the signal back up to the tach. So what I'll probably do here is I'll put a little bit of tape around where I'm going to be working in case the super glue. I'm just using Gorilla super glue, but you know, they're all about the same. So I'll just tape around a little bit just so it doesn't drip anywhere that I don't want it to. So now we got the sensor glued on here, and you know, whenever it passes, it's gonna know that it made a revolution. And then you could come up to your screen. Hopefully you can see that. So whenever it passes, it's gonna start reading. So on the instructions, I gotta set my diameter of the wheel and whatnot. And usually what I'll do, I'll go for a ride, have my phone mounted to the mount there with a GPS set up. And I'll go ahead and fine tune it, you know, make some adjustments so it's accurate around 55, 65. So yeah, that one is all set. And one thing I'm missing is I need to put like one of those little brackets, little plastic clips that will hold the wire in place, but also let it slide when the suspension moves. But I could find that at Lowe's or Home Depot or something. But that's minor. I'll just add it to my list of things to do. Yeah, so cross it off, and I'll mount the rear sprocket now. So with the smaller sprocket, I'm gonna have to remove probably a link or two to shorten the chain back up to take up the distance that we lost from the bigger sprocket. And that should be it. Okay, well, I got the bike leaned over at an angle that I think is pretty suitable. This peg setup is what comes with the Piranha 140, and obviously, you know, this bike's quite a bit higher than it should be, so the kickstand's a little short. So I have it, you know, where I think it should be, and let's just see how much longer it needs to be. So if I extended it 3.5 inches, that would be pretty ideal. So I'll go ahead and take this off and you know, cut it near the post here and weld on that 1/2 inch stock that I have, and see how that plays out. Another cold day in North Carolina, so we're still in the garage. I got the kickstand done, so I'm gonna go ahead and mount that up, and all I have left for today is to check the clearances on the valves. And I usually do 3 thousandths on the intake and 4 thousandths on the exhaust, and we'll just see where it's at. I haven't checked it at all since, you know, since I bought the bike, so whatever it was set at from the factories is what it is, depending on how the valves moved. But I will put a little link in the description of another person that did a real detailed version of how to check your valves on this particular motor. So I don't need to reinvent that. He did a good job. So if you guys have any, you know, questions on how to do it step by step, just check that out. just so everybody knows, there's a couple marks that you'll, if you are doing this, that's real important. On the wheel here, there's a T mark, and there's a little notch on the case itself that lines up. And if you look at your sprocket, there's a mark here, and there's a mark on the head itself that line up. And you could feel it when you're kicking over if the spark plug is still in that. That's the compression stroke. So I'll try to show you what's going on here. It's pretty tight. I can't get the, let me see if I can get this in there. So I'll show you what's going on. This is your rocker, then that obviously the valve spring, but I can't get the feeler gauge to slide in. So that's a little tight. I am going to try to loosen that up a little bit. Yeah, so it's too tight, and I'll loosen it up, and which is just a 9 mil, and then you just adjust the screw up and down to give it a little bit more, to give it some more clearance. Okay, I'll give you guys the. So I got it adjusted, and you can see there's some resistance when I put the 3/1000ths of an inch feeler gauge in. So that one should be good. I'll move on to the exhaust side now. So that one's tight too. A little tight. So it's a good thing I'm checking them. And they're just a little bit on the tight side. So they're adjusted now, and we just got to button this back up, and I am going to tune the carburetor a little bit because it is off. I'm not sure if it's a little bit rich or whatnot, but I was doing some research, and it seems like everybody's all over the place on what jets they're using, so it's kind of hard to dial it in. But once it warms up, I'll get the jetting done, and then we'll do some high speed testing to see where we're at. I'm pretty excited to test it with the new gearing. I think we're going to be pretty close to our goal of 75. And once I reach that, we'll see what happens. 75 is pretty fast for this thing, so I don't know if I'll go much further than that, but we'll see.